What's going on, guys? Luke Manu here, and welcome back to yet another episode of Red Card Conversations. For people who don't know, I'm one of the co founders of Fanball Meet, and this is a series that we're doing with football creators, gaming creators. And today we have yet another special guest, and this one's really special because it's something that's close to my heart as well, because I've been into the esports scene for a very long time. It's been more than 10 years, and I've finally come across someone who's not just a content creator, someone who's just a gamer, but a hardcore one, someone who's not making content about other titles, but specifically EAFC, which has not been the case. Her name's Inza Nakwi. And Inza, it's such a pleasure to have you on this podcast, because we're going to be not just talking about your journey as to how you got here, but about this special time that we're recording as team of the season. We have you here in front of us, and I think it's just going to be fantastic. How are you feeling?
Hi, Lokmanyu. Thank you so much for inviting me. I think it's also very overwhelming to, be noticed all of a sudden. And I started doing this very, very recently. So I wouldn't really call myself a content creator as yet. But I think I'm just, a hardcore football fan. Loved the game, always been playing it. And then, yeah, I just thought that, why should I not like post about it? So I started doing that. And yeah, a lot of people, have been liking the content and the clips that I've been posting. So yeah, thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. I think I could definitely call you a content creator, and my bias towards you as a United fan will definitely
Yes.
be there. And I think I'm going to start there as well. We have something in common. So you said you're a loyal Manchester United fan. That's what you told me when we sat down to record this. I like we sort of loyal, sort of traumatizing as well to be a United fan for the longest time. Like, how are you holding up in 2026? I think now is a good time for us to smile and talk about it, but before that, it was really tough. No.
I think the last decade has been really tough, honestly,
Yeah.
since Sir Alex has gone, because there's just been so much of uncertainty. And he was like a pillar that, kept everything stable, even if the players were like coming in and going. But yeah, I think this year has been good. I was very hopeful at the start of this year's season, but with Amorin at the wheel. But yeah, that did not turn out that well. Though I do like the signings that he's made. And I think as a United fan, we live with, blind hope, selective memory, and maybe some emotional damage. However, this year, yeah, we're going to probably end on a good note. So happy to be a United fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think next season's going to be a lot better for us compared that. We've almost guaranteed our Champions League. I just want to be mathematically sure and have that memory going into the next season. But
Good
that
learning
brings
from
me to,
Arsenal fans.
yeah, 100% no Arsenal fans. Oh my God. I think any Arsenal fan watching this is just, I have no words for them right now. Honestly, I think a lot of them have told me that, okay, just wait it out. We still haven't given up, because they're sort of like what, ahead on goals for. Everything else is the same. Is probably one of the tightest title race that we're going to see for the next 4 game
Absolutely.
week. So
Yeah.
it's going to be quite a fantastic one. But talking about memories, like you being a United fan,
Yeah.
who's that one player that you sort of got the most joy while growing up watching, especially as a United fan?
I think for me, that one singular player has been Wayne Rooney.
Oh
He
my
he
God.
was just like mad energy, and like doing everything from tackling to scoring goals to running all across the pitch. And there would be memes that the world is covered 70% in water and the rest by Wayne Rooney, because he was just all over the pitch. And I think that really like got me watching United very closely. And he's that one player who I've been obsessed about. I've had a poster of Rooney in my room since I was a kid. And yeah, my obsession with Rooney is so much that if I open my Instagram DM, you'll see that every match day there's a DM from me to Rooney saying good luck, or love you, great goal, stuff like that.
Love that,
So
love that.
yeah.
I think the feeling's mutual. Wayne Rooney has been my favorite too. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to try and imitate Rooney on the pitch as well. I still do. Like, I mean, I usually play as a centre back or a CDM per se when I'm playing real football games with my friends. But that eagerness to go forward and score goals like Rooney did, that box to box play style, yeah, that's something that'll always stay with me. And yeah, man, Wayne Rooney is just incredible. But that's the good part of being a United fan. That's a good part of loving a player like Wayne Rooney. But who's the
Yeah.
one who's given you pure pain? Like the one player that you absolutely despise, that why was he part of United?
Oh, why was he part of United? I think there have been many over the years, like some of the signings that United have made, like Juan Sebastian Veron. I mean, come on, like the hype was so much, and then that didn't
Yeah.
turn out that well. Same with, I think, some of the recent signings over the last decade. There were a few players that I was really hopeful that would do really well, but then didn't turn out so good. But I
Yeah.
think I've had more pain from other team players,
Yeah.
like Sergio Aguero being one. I think that one player really broke my heart during that
Sure.
season when he scored that goal. Even Mo
Yeah.
Salah for that matter. Every time he would play against United, he would do really well. And for me, that was big heartbreak. But I think one of the players from United that I really feel, gave me a lot of pain, but now has actually turned it around, given me a lot of joy is Harry Maguire. Because just 2, 3 seasons ago, I think every United fan was dead against, him being captain and then the way he was like leading the team. But then
Yeah.
the comeback that he's had, I think he's phenomenal. He's such a strong pillar at the back. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I think someone like a Harry Maguire deserves a lot of praise given all of that
yeah,
off the pitch moments he got caught up in and everything that happened. He
yeah,
still bounced back.
absolutely.
Yeah, people have been hard on him, but I think one player that always deserved a stick from my end and someone that I just could not understand was Andre Onana. I mean, yeah,
Oh
fine.
yeah, of
He
course.
did he did well. He did well in Inter, whatever that he did, but he
Yeah.
just did not turn up as a United player. The consistency wasn't there. And he like I used to
And he
get
had to
raised. That was
fill really
yeah.
big shoes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
David De Gea was like a United player, and the kind of saves that he's had, I don't know. There's this one free kick that he saved of Juan Mata's when he was at Chelsea. It's like top bin, and De Gea reached it and saved it. So for me to see that, and then to see Onana fumbling with the ball, the ball going through his legs, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I agree with you on the pain part.
100%. So I think I've said this, and this is probably something that I would want to put up on the Instagram feed when we put out our recording. Is basically the day when I said like he messed up in one of these games really bad that cost us a match. I'm forgetting who it was against, and that's the day when I was watching it with my friends, and I say the day that I see Onana is the day I'll end up in jail. So he made me feel like that. He made me feel so enraged, and I never felt
Yeah.
like yeah, like fine, we can't really express
I
our
think
emotions
United
that way.
over the years have had like some of the best goalkeepers, whether it
Yeah.
was Schmeichel or Van der Sar. And then I think Barthez was the only clownish signing that was there. But yeah, after that, David De Gea and, the consistency at the back was so good with the defense and the goalkeepers. But now, yeah, with Onana, it was just bad. Even the defense wasn't that good. So yeah, I think I would blame overall the team the way they were playing. But it's happy now. So
Mm.
I'm happy.
We're happy. We're happy at this stage.
Yeah.
Any United fan watching this, I think, will sort of agree to a lot of things that we've already spoken about. But that brings me to a question, though. Like, if you had to explain being a United fan in one sentence today, what would that be?
I think as toxic as it has been being a United fan last 10 years, it's home. So for me, it's just that feeling of, home. It just feels like home. I have nothing more to say. I don't think I can remember a time in my life where United was not a part of it. Any of my friends or colleagues, who spend time of me outside of, work and home, know that if it's a weekend and if it's a United game, my phone will be on the dinner table or my iPad is on the side where the game is just streaming. I
Yeah.
don't think I have missed a United game in the last 15, 20 years.
That's
So,
insane. That's
yeah.
insane. Yeah, that's true dedication to your club, and I think I've been the same. In fact, I've watched United games and weddings also. I've really never posted content about it, but yeah, like all suited and booted up and
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
in a corner and watching the game on a
Yeah,
on my phone. Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
the same. I remember
Yeah.
like every time I go for dinner with my friends or colleagues on a weekend, my phone's on the table and they'd be like, just shut it. You're not even watching it. And I'm like, no, it has to be
Yeah.
on. I have to watch it. And yeah, that's just been how life has been. I think my life has revolved around Manchester United, so I've kind of adapted to it, to the games, to the if when we used to play Champions League, because that's really painful to watch on a weekday when you have work the next day sometimes.
Yeah.
And when the games go into extra time and penalties, it ends at like 3:30 in the night, but I would still,
Mm.
make sure I watch.
Correct. No, 100%. I think it's all worth it because,
Yeah.
yeah, we've lived and breathed Manchester United, and that's always going to be the case until the day we die. So
Yep.
that's something that's passion, and that's not something you can take away. But that brings me to the question now, specifically that, as I said, that Inza is here with us, and, we've just been talking about football. How did that transition happen from football to FIFA, now called EAFC? Because you told me you've been playing since the PlayStation 2 days, and that's honestly, that's elite. That's an elite legacy status that you are at, and I can say the same for myself. So it's so good to know that you are doing this, and very less female content creators or EFC players that I personally know are there. Probably I don't know anyone, just maybe one person who I I sort of helped to, go ahead and play for the national
Yeah.
team as well. We can talk about that later. But like, how did you get here? How did that transition come into virtual football?
So I think when I was growing up, the kind of peers that I had, I was always a lot into sports in general. So I was playing football, I was playing basketball, I was playing cricket, and I was playing these sports decently well. So early on, only I knew that, I can compete with the boys. I was always part of the boys team, and, I was playing equally well. I was, making slide tackles, and, I was never really shying away from the ball hitting me in any sport. So
Yeah.
that kind of helped me, and the peer group that I had in school as well as, in my building,
Yeah.
everybody was like hardcore into football. And my name is Inza. So at that time, both in cricket, Inza mom used to play when I was
Yeah.
younger, and Inzaghi in football. So
Yeah.
everybody knows me from, my younger days as Inzaghi. That's what they would call me, which is why also I have this affinity towards Italy as a team, because
Right.
growing up, yeah, that was my name.
Mm.
So playing a lot of football and growing up in that sort of an environment, I remember my grandfather traveled to PlayStation to US, and a friend of mine, a neighbor, had a PlayStation 1 on which we used to play, FIFA. Sometimes it was really fascinating. And that time, we used to play other games also, like Crash Bandicoot and all of that. So my grandfather asked me, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want a PlayStation." So he got me one PlayStation when he came back from the US, and
Wow.
that is where my gaming journey sort of started. And that was at that back then, it was just my brother and I. We were just playing, casually. And as we started growing older, we started competing with each other. And I think I peaked when FIFA Street came, and I would have kicked my brother's ass on it. Even now, I think even until I used to live back with my parents and him, I think 2016, 17, I think Lukaku was really meta. The
Mm.
amount of goals that I must have scored on my brother, I'm sure he still has nightmares about Lukaku. And he's a
Lukaku.
City fan. Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
a City fan. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how I think the transition happened. And I just kept playing FIFA with my friends, even in college. I remember I had these two friends who we used to bunk college, and we would either be at my place or my other friend's place and just playing FIFA. So that's been life. And then work happened, and then obviously that slowed down until I think 2 years ago when I started playing Ultimate Team a little more seriously. Before that, we were just playing offline, kick off and trying to see which team is better than the other. But
Yeah.
Ultimate Team, I think, happened about 3 years ago. And yeah, that's when I started playing online and getting a lot of hate, actually. A lot of people, after they lose, they would text. And that's what got me thinking to, why don't I start putting it out? Because I am able to compete in Division 5 and 6 back then. So I thought, let me just like put it out there, because I didn't know any other, girl or even any of my friends doing that at that
Mm.
point. So
Yeah.
that's how this transition, I think, happened to virtual football and gaming.
That's fantastic. I mean, now that I think of it, we could have been best friends in college because I used to literally do the same thing. Yeah, we would have bunked classes together. But yeah, that's crazy though.
Yeah.
Like hearing your story just reminds me of mine as well, and how I started to get into the competitive scene and, not taking college seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
it was all towards the end, but that love for FIFA, playing with your friends for fun, and then
Yeah.
becoming more competitive. Because you told me before we started this podcast that at this point of time, you're in Division 3 and or Division
Yeah.
4, and
Yeah.
you recently finished on 10 wins in champs. Now, a lot of people that I have coached as well, and a lot of people that I know in general as well, cannot cross 8 and 9 wins. You have hit 10. That's
Can.
your dedication, that's your passion, that's your skill. As a woman, to
Yeah.
hit 10 wins, that's not exactly acceptable as well to a lot of people when you're playing. Tell me a bit about it. Like, how do you deal with it? How you're setting an example for other creators to actually be out there and deal with this? Because it's a completely different way to approach when you're, as a woman, doing so well in a game like EFC, where a
Yeah.
lot of people are constantly toxic about something or the other in the game.
Yeah, I think for me, when I started posting, also, I knew that, being female, I am going to get a lot more eyeballs, from people in general. Either they'll be curious or inquisitive, or they'll just be like, how can somebody be so good
Yeah.
being female, and they want to have a competition of sorts. But I didn't want to specifically be known just for that. I wanted
Yeah.
to be, and I still want to be known because I play the game well, because I understand the game, I understand the tactics, the meta, because I've been watching football, over the years so closely. I understand the game, I think, better than some of my guy friends too, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to be known for. Even the kind of knowledge that I have about football and trivia, and even in cricket for that matter, I think it's better than a lot of other people. So I want to be known for that more than just being, a female creator. But if that, me being female, helps the community and also helps other, females and other younger people also wanting to take this up, I think that'd be a win. I'm happy to help anybody who reaches out to me, saying they want to start streaming or they want to do something. And I'm happy to extend that to them because I'm doing this purely out of passion and nothing else.
No, 100%. I think your journey has been super inspiring. You've suddenly like come out in the scene. You're being asked for collabs, one of which was me as
Yeah.
well. And it's
Yeah.
fantastic to have you so that a lot of people can learn because I myself know a lot of female football creators. My co-founder at Fanball is also
Right.
a massive content creator. And like
And a
the
Liverpool
journey
fan.
and a Liverpool fan, which of course I don't want to say anything. I know how I work with them. But that's besides the point. But I think the entire concept is to sort of transition that love for the game on the virtual pitch, and you're actually doing it at a very competitive scale, which will definitely inspire. So kudos to that, and I really hope
Thank
anyone
you.
who's watching gets inspired by you and sort of takes it up week in week out. But talking about week in week out, there's something I wanted to ask you. Like, what's actually harder for you? Is it like the weekend league, or is it like supporting United week in week out?
I think it is the weekend league, which is harder
Yeah.
because supporting
Yeah.
United, I mean, I support it and that's unconditional. And that's not in
Yeah.
my hands at the end of the day. They play on the pitch and, they give it their all, they win or they lose. But the weekend league is in my own hands, that controller, every wrong input, every bad tackle, that's so much more frustrating. And the last few weeks since, the newer cards that come out almost every day, every week now, but there are so many ratty players and teams and it's they don't have any build up, they don't have a lot of like gameplay, they're just spinning around or just holding possession, so it just gets so much more frustrating. So yeah, weekend league
Yeah.
any day.
Weekend league, I mean, I think there's a reason why we all say that as much as we love the game, weekend league is the reason for a lot of health issues for a lot of people.
I'm sure.
And yeah, it's like raging, breaking controllers. It's just like I've seen reels on Instagram life after I quit weekend league, and there's this guy just traveling
In
and
the
like
nature and yeah.
yeah, it's crazy like how both of us can relate. A lot of people watching this would also relate. It's crazy how, weekend league can take you to places, give you a lot of joy as well when you're able to beat a player, as we normally call it, who's a rat and who's not, playing the right way. And we always sort of take it up by
Yeah.
being extremely pissed off in that moment. And when you're on camera, you can't really say much because, yeah, those emotions can't really come out on camera.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, he is like, hi, we are here watching you. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's not the case. But
But
that
I
does,
never
yeah.
play like in a, ratty way or in a toxic way. If I end up scoring first, I don't think I ever celebrate. And, I just get on with the game because when I'm playing also, I'm very serious about it. So I'm locked in all the time. But if the other person starts doing it, then it's like you have this, I don't know, competitive edge to be like, I have to beat this guy. So yeah, that gets frustrating. And if you're able to beat that or beat the opponent, then, all good. But then if you
Yeah.
lose to such an opponent, then it's like frustrating. I mostly end up like shutting the game every time it's a ratty player who ends up kicking my ass. I take a break and then come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not fun, when you're playing a weekend league game. I mean, yeah, everyone wants to win, but when they play like that, it's just what's the point? Like, you can't even say anything to them because if you say this, is like, I'm also playing the game in my own way, you're playing the game your way, and we
Yeah.
just wouldn't really care. So, yeah, I think it's only natural for you to get frustrated and quit the game and start a game which you actually
Yep.
want to play because, yeah, rank one isn't giving you any sort of reward that way or anything. No, it's not going to make a
Yeah,
difference.
the rewards have also been so bad of late. So
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just play
Yeah.
it because we're used to playing it.
Correct. That's true. That's true. But then actually I that brings me to a question right now, which is, like which is the most favorite card you've used this year? Because we have spoken about so much in terms of the team of the season,
Yeah.
fantasy, FUD birthday, team of the year. So many different promos have come, winter wildcard. So much to choose from, but I need you to tell me one player that makes all the difference for you.
I think the player that I've used now for the longest time in my team who's been consistently at that CM position has been Jill Scott. So she, even though she played for City, but she's been one player in my team consistently who's been there. I used to use her winter wild card earlier and then I upgraded it when I got some more coins to the newer, I don't know which one. I think it's the icon, fantasy icon, if I'm not wrong. I picked that one up and she's been there in my team throughout. And also Haji, who's been at camp position for a long time now. But I'm thinking of upgrading it. I'm hoping to pull the new top Tots, PL, Bruno. And if that happens, then yeah. But my pack luck sucks. So
I don't know. I couldn't agree more. My pack luck has been so bad until during Team of the Year, I opened one store pack, one, just one, and I got Team of the Year Maldini. So I got lucky with that. That was my
oh,
best pull. Yeah, that was.
uh,
I think he's
I
still
mean,
valued at something.
my
Yeah.
pack luck is so bad that I've never pulled a gold Mbappe also, just so that you have some
God.
reference.
My God, I think your account is definitely on that list where you will not get anything. I think we've all had
What?
these conspiracy theories where your account is actually blacklisted by EA that you're never gonna get anything good. You need to keep pumping in money, and
Yeah,
once out of like 100 packs, you'll probably get something decent. That definitely is the case. But now that we've talked about a player, we've talked about how people are in the community. What's the most hatred meta mechanic that is there in your game that actually pisses you off, that you feel should not be there for the sake of football? FC 26 pretty realistic. I mean, I still feel the game has a lot of positives. It's honestly, you
yeah.
have to apply real life football logic into game, and I love that, which is why a lot of people struggle and there's a lot of skill gap. But like, what is that thing that you actually find stupid and should not be there where people abuse a lot?
I think the kickoff glitch, I think that for me would be the most annoying one, where
Yeah.
your team is just standing, the player is like pressing either like R1 technical sprint or like R2 and just going past. The team feels
Yeah.
like they're not moving until you concede a
Yeah.
goal and then you're like, okay, now my team is normal. But
Yeah.
that for me is the most pissing off because there are games sometimes where I score like 4 goals and then I've conceded on all the kickoffs. So it's like there is actually no gameplay that's happening. It's just kickoff to kickoff, and then you're forced to do that because if you don't
True.
do that, you will lose the game. So
True.
yeah,
True.
that
Yeah.
that one.
I agree. And also, I feel those first time through balls which are there, which are back again, the lobbed ones, like grounded ones, are still fine. But
Yeah,
when it just goes from any angle, when you're literally facing, say, a
your own
90-degree
goal,
angle,
and you're
yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Like that's still there. A lot of pros are abusing it. Obviously, for them, it's good because as a former pro player, I used to use abuse mechanics as much as possible because that's how you
Yeah.
play the game. But
Yeah. Like some of the mechanics, like the kickoff pass where you pass it to your right back, and then or you make send your right back on a run, and then your left back gives a long through ball, and you're in the attacking half of the player already. I use that
Mm,
too sometimes,
yeah,
but then that still requires you to then once you get the ball there, you still have to make a play. You still have to pass the ball. You still have to find the right angle to score a goal, which is why I don't mind even if players use the the corner glitch, lock the other player and
yeah,
pass the ball. Yeah, which is
yeah.
still okay because it still requires you to do something, and the game is
Correct.
not like against you.
Yeah, but I think one thing that I would want to fix at least in that is the corner one, because sometimes it just gets undefendable. Like you really
Yeah.
cannot. Like it's something that when the ball drops down after a player lock, and the way that the second player who's coming for the ball, the way he chests it down, or the way he or she traps it, and by the time you're able to close down, that angle is specifically opened up very nicely.
Yeah.
So I feel that there should be some sort. It should be nerfed a little bit, because even though it's a skill, but I still feel that's something that people can learn very quickly and keep abusing it. I don't think so. It should be there in the game personally.
Yeah, many like that, even the
Yeah.
ones where you flick the right stick, take the ball in the air, and then just shoot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're, yeah, around the box, it just goes in. So,
Right, right. No, that's 100% there. But coming back to your journey now, because we've spoken about the in game and whatever you've done in this space in such a short span of time, you've suddenly, came into the scene with a lot of people watching your content and a lot of people engaging with it. How's the community's response been? Like, do you feel there's a pressure to sort of represent yourself on screen on a certain way, or do you just want to be seen as as a player or a creator? Like, how do you, what's your goal? Like, how do you portray yourself in front of the camera?
I think I would say I'm still very, very new to this. I
Right.
think the first video that I ever posted only went up in January. So it's just been 3 months that I've actually started posting a little consistently. The response has been very overwhelming for me. I never thought that it'll be, obviously, there are negatives and like a lot of toxicity too. But then the positive outweighs that, by tens or thousands of times. The kind of messages that people have sent me on DMs, or even the kind of support that I've got from
Ye-
you, from Vibhor, even other people in the community who reached out and made me feel so warm and welcome. I think that's been like a real win, and everybody has whoever's reached out to me from the community has reached out to me because they like the gameplay and not because I'm just another female gaming creator creator, right? And that for me is a win, and that's the representation that I would also want to like carry it forward, that I'm seen for my gameplay, and there's a lot of things to learn, right, for me also, and that's a journey I want to take. And if there are people, looking at me and following me, I think that's a journey I would also want to take them on. I've never been in elite division, I've never even reached division 2, so reaching there is like my next goal. And the day I do that, I want people also to feel that, oh, they can do it too, because it honestly not that difficult. When I was in division 6, I used to feel like, I don't think my game will never improve more than this. But then now
Yeah.
I play in division 3, and I'm consistently getting weekend league wins also. So I think the journey is what I would want people to follow me for, and not
Yeah.
because of any other, representation.
That's fantastic because I think it's about taking that bold step which you did and eventually improve from Division 6 to never
Yeah.
thinking you will become better, but to end up in Div 3 and then get like 10 wins in the weekend league, which I still feel is fantastic in such a short
Thank
span of
you.
time. It's
Yeah, you so
incredible. Yeah.
I had been thinking about, posting content or streaming FIFA for a long, long time. But I never, I don't know, just, nervous energy, hesitation, never had that never had the guts to do it. Always felt like,
Yeah.
what are people gonna think, and
Yeah.
how will people react, and do I really want to open myself up that much to strangers and to an online world? But then I think after the new year, the first video that I posted, I probably had that on my phone for 2 months before. I had edited it and I kept it.
Wow.
I never had the guts to post it. I just kept it on my phone. And then one night I had this realization where I was like, I want to do this. I'm trying to seek validation from strangers, yet I'm feeling ashamed or embarrassed that, my friends and family who are there, how are they going to react, or what will people say? And I was like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen? It won't work out, and that's fine. So
Right.
at midnight, just before going to bed, I posted the first video, which was, I think, a Claudio Pina free kick on a technical foul.
Hmm.
And I woke up in the morning and it had, I think, over 15K views and
Wow.
so many messages. And that, I think, was a good push and motivation for me. That I think gave me a little bit more confidence that, okay, I can do this. And I also got into it with the mindset that I know that I won't get views, and I know that there will be a lot of ups and downs, and I'm okay with that. I know there are some videos which will only get 1,000 views or 2,000 views, but then there are also videos that now have crossed 75,000 views, which for me is unfathomable. I
Yeah.
just cannot deal with it. It's like too overwhelming for me as a person.
That's really incredible because like 75K views, and it's not even about the view count, it's about the consistency and how people are engaging with your content. The
Yeah,
views will start only like one day you'll feel like 1 million, that's too less. Like my average target would be 2 million, and you start getting that. It's crazy. It's like sky is the limit when you're posting content like that. But
yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, I think you did not care about the numbers. You held on to the video for such a long time, and then when you posted, you saw the response. It's like, yeah, okay, fine, I can actually do
yeah.
something out of it. That brings me to a question, which is like more about your personality and your life outside of gaming. You mentioned to me before we started that you were a chef at one point. That's honestly like a plot twist to me. Now that we've spoken so much about how you've been, scoring free kicks with Claudio Pina, and you have so much of knowledge about the game, and you were a chef. Like, take me through it. What's been up there?
So I think growing up, even in school and even in college, there are important decisions you have to make, whether you want to choose science or commerce, or whether you
Mm,
want to do engineering or any other field. And I don't
yeah.
think I ever had a clue. Okay,
Yeah.
I never really knew what I wanted to do,
Mm,
so I just went with the flow. I had a in school, I had somebody come in, give a talk about how they studied hospitality, and they became a chef, and that got me to thinking that it's nice. At that point, I just wanted to do graduation, and I thought
mm.
hospitality was the easiest way to do graduation instead of me wasting time in an
And
engineering college or in like doing something in medical, because that's not my interest area.
yeah.
And I liked food as a person. I love eating, I love exploring cultures. All the travel that I do also is all basis
Going.
food. I go to countries that have good food, explore that. So I thought, okay, this may be a good fit. So I studied hospitality, got into that, got through Taj with the management training program. So worked with them for about 3-4 years, and that's where I was a chef, where I realized that I enjoy eating and learning about food more than the actual cooking part, because being
Yeah.
in the kitchen is tough. From
Yeah.
7 in the morning to midnight on your feet in the heat. It is difficult. So yeah, I
Mm.
gave that up, moved to marketing, and yeah, many other things after that.
that's insane. So I think I will just say it out for the people who's watching, from chefing at Taj to chefing at FC. You've come a long way, right? So yeah, that's where the moment where you can say you're actually cooking people in weekend league, and that is sort of quite professional because you've already been a chef. So that's insane. I think I've never come across something like this where a chef is playing the game, and I can actually use that line as for the first time. It's like a punchline, or maybe I can just put it as the title of the video also. But that brings me to a question though. Like I will put it up for you because you've been a chef at Taj, you've been a chef at the game now. Building a perfect FC Ultimate Team squad versus cooking a perfect dish. What's similar in both?
I think it's all about the balance, right?
Yeah.
Even when you're eating food, if the food, the salt in it is balanced with the rest of the ingredients, I think it's a good dish and the food is great.
Yeah.
And it's the
Yeah.
same thing here, that's what I tell people who text me also, that don't just get the highest rated or the most expensive card. You have to see if those play styles kind of make sense for your team, and your own play style, how you play. If you like short passing, then you want people with those sort of play styles. So getting the right balance in that, as well as getting the right balance in food, I think that's the commonality between the two.
Yeah. Let me just say it this way कि कितना नमक डालना है खाने में और कौन सा play style लगाना है player पे is sort of same, which is crazy though.
Yeah.
I love this analogy. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, because
Lovely.
so many people, they will buy the most expensive card or the highest rated card.
Yeah.
Whereas doing that is like disaster, because at the end of the day, you will not be able to use, because the whole chemistry thing, right? Anybody who plays foot knows how to make chemistry meet and what are the things they can do. So
Yeah.
that kind of, fits in well. But I was a chef a long time ago now.
Mm.
It's been a while.
Well, as they say, form is temporary, class is permanent. So that is definitely not going away. So that's always the case. But fantastic. One overrated EFC player, according to you.
I think this year would be, actually, I like the all the female players that are in the game. They're good. I think in terms of barring this new Tots Messi card, I think the other
Yeah.
Messi cards were a bit overrated, because
Overrated.
he's
Yeah.
honestly, not he's not at that level that he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were a bit overrated. But I think the other cards have been kind of okay. Yeah, some of the Chelsea players and showing up in the
Yeah.
mentions and lineups, I
Mm.
kind of don't
Yeah.
agree with those also.
Yeah.
But theek hai, it's fine. They have to keep all
It's
the
fine.
fans happy.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Has to be there. Now, like there are so many content creators, female content
Yeah.
creators. Who do you aspire to be? Like, is there someone that you've watched content, been inspired with in AFC? Is there some other creator, like be it female, male, that you sort of want to be like? Who's your inspiration? Who's like sort of like your idol now that you're in this space?
I don't think there are a lot of female creators in FIFA or like AFC specifically. So I don't have a frame of reference for that. But in terms
Right.
of the male creators that I've been following, for some time, like Tex or even Danny Ambrose and those guys, I think they're making some good content. But I still feel more in line with I'm right now more focused on improving my game and
Mm.
improving myself to be
Right.
able to reach elite division. So I do follow a lot of FC Pro Open. So I'll watch all those games. I'll watch how Anders is playing or Real Paz is playing. That is, for
Oh,
me, is more aspirational than
Anna.
following another content creator. I don't think I'm in the second half yet.
That's fantastic. No, I think that just goes to show how competitive you are and how much you want to improve. It's been
Yeah.
fantastic to know this. Yeah, no, 100% creator, of course, comes afterwards. You just want to improve your game. Okay, but as a closing to this wonderful podcast we've had, I'm gonna ask you just quick few questions and you have to answer in one word. Okay,
Okay.
let's do
Sure.
this. Favorite football player of all time.
Wayne Rooney.
All right.
Yeah.
Current best player in EFC 26, according to you.
For me, I think it would be Haji.
Haji. Oh wow, that's an
Yeah, at
interesting
least
one.
in my team, yeah, because
In your
my pack luck is so bad, I don't pull any good players. So the ones that I've played with, I'm answering from those.
Makes sense. He's chefing for the chef in the game. I can say that.
Yeah.
What's the skill move? What's the skill move that you spam the most?
I think the L1 step over.
Okay,
The
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. One club you'd never support.
Sadly, Akshata's not going to be too happy, but Liverpool.
Liverpool. I agree with
Yeah,
you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just something, like
yeah.
if City win the league, I still don't mind it as much as
Same.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't like to use the word hate. That's a very strong word, but nah, like
yeah.
honestly, Liverpool not happening, not at all.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
I don't, I wouldn't say hate, great, but
Yeah.
it's just that, yeah, there's something about that club that
About
just
that club.
gives me the ick.
True.
Yeah.
True. What's the dream collab in gaming or football that you would like for yourself as an aspiring creator? Because you will become big, that's for sure. With how you're going, you will get a lot of people knocking at your door for brand deals, which is the entire point, right, of this conversation where people learn from
Yeah.
you. So you will be getting that. What's your dream collab then?
I think for me, like personally, I would say the day maybe Manchester United notice me and probably invite me to Old Trafford to like watch a game, I would feel like, yeah, I've made it, that's it. I don't
Wow.
need anything else. Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
that would be great because I really would want to like go and, do the tour and stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually planning to do it this year, but work and commitments and so many
True.
things is difficult to plan it. But yeah,
Yeah.
if I get noticed and I get to go and, spend some time there, I think that would be my ultimate dream collab ever.
That's I think this is gonna be the peak. No, I got goosebumps listening to that. That what if one day, both of us as EAFC players and
Creators, yeah,
creators
United
and United
fans,
fans. Yeah, that's
yeah.
gonna be insane. Yeah, no, 100%.
I also see some of the creators, they shy away from calling out the teams that they, support because they want to kind of maintain a balance. But I don't want to do that, because that's not me. I wouldn't even call myself a fan. I would call myself fanatic because
Yeah.
that club runs in my blood in some way or the other. So
100%. No, for
yeah.
sure, for sure. Yeah, United is everything. But this has been such a fun conversation. And I mean, we exceeded the time, but I think that's always the case when you're having a fantastic conversation. Like, we literally went from the FIFA Street days about you telling us about the journey from the PS2 days where you got a PS from the US and how it all started to the weekend league stress and you being a chef. And one thing we did miss out on was FPL, but I think that's something that, we would take up in a different conversation because, yeah, I think it's
Absolutely.
about time. Yeah, it's about time we wrap this up. But it's great though. But one thing I would notice, one thing I would like to highlight is that I think I would let Inza, you only tell because I don't want people to miss out on the FPL. Where are you at right now? Can you just tell me your rank in India?
I think it was 3,300 last week.
That's
And
mad.
I think 2 months ago, at the start of January, I was 1,200. So yeah, this season has been really good for me. I think I'll definitely finish in top 5K in India this year. So
For sure, for sure. I
yeah.
think in that case, if ever Michael Carrick does not work for us, we know who we're hiring
No.
as our next head coach. That's very fantastic. No, that's great ball knowledge to have such a good season in FPL. Where can people find you and follow your journey? Can you tell us the handles where people would be there on YouTube and Instagram?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my Instagram and YouTube are the same handle in Zanakwi. I just kept it my name. I thought if I should change it and gave it a lot of thought, but I was just like, it's too much effort to think of something. So I
Yeah.
just left it to what it was. So in Zanakwi on both Instagram and on YouTube.
Fantastic, guys. Show some love to Inza. She's doing a great thing, and it's a very unique thing as well in the EFC space. So I'm
Thank you so
expecting a
much.
lot of love and followers heading Inza's way for at least all the EFC boys that I personally know and anyone who's new to the scene. So make sure you follow. Incredible person and really hardworking, really passionate. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, of the Red Card Conversations, make sure to follow Fanball Meet and stay tuned. We're just getting started. Thank you so much, Inza, for coming. Really
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much, Lokman, for having me here and to Akshita as well, for reaching out. So, yeah, I'm really overwhelmed that, you guys actually got me here. So, thank
Yeah.
you. And I'm sure we'll be connected and we'll stay in touch.
For sure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.